Okay, what does it mean to be homeless?
What does it mean? See, this is what's interesting to me is there's a lot of different levels of homelessness. People, the stigma often comes with everybody thinks you're Skid Row, or you're pushing a shopping cart if you're homeless. So, I mean, as far as the state's definition, even if you are staying at a friend's house and they say you can stay here for as long as you want, you don't live there if you're homeless.
Okay. So what does it mean to be happy, or like what makes you happy?
Me personally,
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of things. I mean, I wouldn't even say that I'm unhappy being homeless, especially here. Is you grow a lot. I've learned a lot. You make a lot of really, when you go through tough times, you really make a lot of friendships, and it's tough being a single mom. So now I have a lot more single mom friends, and you don't get to go out and make friends when you're a single mom. So. As far as happiness, I think just having freedom and security, and not a lot of stress.
What brought you to this place?
For me personally, I was living. Well, I'm from here, but I was living in Texas when I got a surprise pregnancy, and my son's father is mentally unstable. He's violent, and I just left everything behind, left my job and everything, and drove like 8 months pregnant. I decided I did not want to, as I got closer and closer to as I got bigger, things started to get worse, and I just didn't want, I wanted to, I didn't want my son to have to see that. I didn't want him to have that bad influence, and his dad just wouldn't, couldn't reason with him. So I said, you know what, I'm going to have the baby, I'm going to go back home, have the baby in California. I knew that it would be really hard financially because I was in Austin, which is a lot cheaper. I've been a bartender and bar manager like 20 years, but Los Angeles is a little different. As far as job security, it's a lot more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew just taking off like that, that I'd struggle. But that, it was a tough decision to make. As far as I thought, it was more important that he not be in a violent environment, and that we just, life is hard enough. We don't need all the craziness, drama. So I came out here and stayed with friends for about 10 months, and then I started working when my son was about 4 months old, and let's see, so he was born April 2014. So then I got in my own apartment in January 2015. And I was working, but I never really got full-time hours. It's really hard bartending as a single mom. I don't have any family. I would say most of the women that are here, most of the time the moms become homeless if you don't have family support. Because the problem is, my son has asthma pretty bad. So there was from age 5 months to about 8 months, 3 months straight, we were in the emergency room like 1 to 3 times a week. I was missing a lot of work, as a manager and everything. You can't miss work, can't not go and open the bar. And they can't fire you for that reason. It's not legal, but they just kept cutting my shifts. And I had my apartment, which was a great price on an apartment, but still $950 plus utilities. I didn't really have a lot of money saved because I wanted to get my place. So the problem is if he's too sick for daycare, I can't work. So this is the problem, and this is I'm finding more and more that it's very common because there's just not a lot of options. Like CCRC pays for my daycare. I've never gotten a dime from my son's dad. So they pay for my childcare 100% while I'm working. But if he's sick, there's no option for childcare when he's sick. So you want to be with him, so it's a really tough decision. And when he was well, I tried working 2 jobs. I couldn't get full-time hours, so I got a second job, but then that means often scheduling conflicts and double shifts and things like that. He could not handle when I worked double shifts. It's just too many hours that he was, not with me. And it was just really hard on him. And I decided as things got more and more difficult, I was like, I'm just going to have to get evicted. So we got evicted in September. I lived in a really a great price on a rent-controlled 1-bedroom apartment. So my landlord was the new owner, so I was only 2 weeks late. I was 2 weeks late on rent when he started the eviction process. Usually they wait like 3 months, but he wanted me out so he could charge more for another tenant. So, we got evicted. There's nothing I could do. He's within his rights. I tried, and believe me, I tried everything to, and it's just, I tried everything I could think of, but I don't, my mom, most of my family has passed away. I don't have any support. So it's just hard. And then we bounced around. So since September, bouncing around from friend's house to friend's house, and I'm trying to make things happen. And it's just really hard. Once you become homeless, it becomes extremely hard with it when you have a small child who's not in school, especially, to just surviving day to day and making sure you have a place to stay and things like that becomes all like, it takes up all your time. It becomes really hard to get a job and, get out of the hole. So LA Family Housing put us up for like a month in some really gross hotels. Those were nasty. Better than, it's kind of nice to have your own space, but it's very isolating. There's no children, and I didn't want to associate with the people, and they were really dirty. And we were waiting for this place to open. So being here, as you can see, it's like very homey. It's not anything like you would imagine. So it's really, the kids are so happy here, and it's like that's the biggest thing. That's the most stressful thing, really, when you're homeless as a single mom or as a parent. You feel so guilty, you feel so bad that you aren't providing just a basic, like, stable home for them. And even though my son is too young to, thank goodness, he doesn't realize what's going on. A lot of the kids that are older, if kids find out at school that they're homeless, they get messed with like mercilessly. There's a big stigma with it. And, they're like, why can't I come over? And fortunately, I don't have to deal with that. My son likes it. He's like, slumber party. He just thinks we have a lot of friends. It doesn't face him. But the instability does bother him. Like, after a while, the moving around started to get really tough. You have a lot of behavior problems. A lot of the kids, when they come here, they're very, acting out a lot, fighting a lot, biting, angry, don't sleep well. So it's nice, like, after a few weeks, it gets like into a normal routine. So that's how I got here.
Thank you for telling your story. I'd like to end it with the question, how would you define happiness?
That's a very philosophical question. It's for me personally, as far as personal happiness, or how would I generally define happiness?
Just personally.
For me personally, what would make me happy is, now that I'm a parent, really seeing my son happy, and just being able to have fun. I think, having life doesn't have to be easy to be happy. I have a lot of, I'm an artist, so I like to do a lot of different things. If I can do things, be creative and have fun and, have joy and connect with people, that's pretty much what I need. And a nice place to live is cool. But I'd say that, for me to be happy, the most important thing is have the basic, healthy food and things to drink and stuff like that. But most importantly, I think when you become homeless, you definitely get a really valuable perspective on things, and you definitely learn to pare down to the bare essentials. When you have to move constantly, you're like, do I really want to drag this around to this next house? But and just material things, it's so apparent like how inconsequential they are. Even a roof over your head, while it is important, it's like what your standards are for what is acceptable. It definitely changes. You're like, I just want something clean. If it's clean and safe, that's all that matters. But so I think it's so easy to get caught up, in the, and believe me, this is like not. If you knew me, it's unbelievable that I'm homeless. People can't even believe it. And it's hard to say, I'm kind of on a personal crusade I refuse to be ashamed of it. Like, I tell people, they ask me, not in a job interview, I'm like, I'm homeless. I don't push a shopping cart around, I don't live in my car, but there's a lot of people that are homeless, it's not, it's tough, I think what the stigma should be, the stigma should be on the deadbeat dads. It's like, I don't know how women or anyone could just think that that's okay, because this is what happens, when they don't take responsibility for their children. And raising a child is too big of a job for one person. If you had a chance to interview a lot of people, you'll see that, because I'm interested too. I kind of do my own personal unofficial survey, because I'm just wondering, like, I know why I'm here, and it's interesting, like the different ages and different type. We have every kind of person you can imagine coming through here. People that are, from other countries, people that are me, I'm a native, there's all kinds of people. People that are educated, people that are not, There's a lady here, she's got a master's degree, she's retired, but she's taking care of her grandchildren, So there's a lot of different stories, but the common denominator is typically that they don't have support. And there's nothing you can do about that. I can't do anything about whether or not you have family. There's not really, you can cultivate friendships, but it's like, so that's,
Thank you.
I hope that helps you guys.